All right, so I had a very pleasant sleep last night on board the Queen Mary. I did a long video last night. I was up till very late. Very interesting. It was basically the Queen Mary at night. Went in wherever I could get in, and there was nobody around. So that was an amazing experience. But I wanted to come back out today in the daytime when more things are open, and I wanted to get inside the different areas that I couldn't get in yesterday because they locked this place up pretty decently tight. And so I'm gonna see where I can get now and show you what it looks like now in the daytime, so you can kind of get a full experience of being on board the Queen Mary here in Long Beach, California. So I'm curious to see what is available to explore. A lot of it is still undergoing, not restoration, but getting it up to par so people can enjoy it in its existing state, in its preserved state. In fact, I would say that probably you can see about maybe 50 to 60% of the ship. So there's that much that is kind of closed off. I mean, you can imagine the monumental task of maintaining a ship like this, and you have to do it in a way that, you can't just replace that. You know, it's got to be while still keeping the patina. I mean, this is patina. This shows history and stories. So, but you can't just take that piece off and throw it in the garbage and put a new one on. It's got to be repaired the correct way. And here's Long Beach. So this has been here since 1967. I think they finally opened it as a hotel in 71 or 72. So it's been here for a long time. It's in this area here that, it ain't going anywhere. It just lives here forever. There's a couple of these old telephones around. Look at these things. Oh, that's where I want to take you. The bridge up front. That's where I want to go. It wasn't open last night. Oh, see, I was hoping this was going to be open, but it's not. This was the radio station. And I was hoping it was going to be open, but for some reason it's not. Maybe it might just be for tours. I just noticed this on the wall. Steel Company. Anyway, I'll take you over to the bridge. Saw this last night. Man, this thing has been here for a long time. And they had a ton of them. Lessons learned from the Titanic. If it's not open, then yeah, it's got to be in a tour, and I don't know, I'll look into it, but I thought I was going to take some tours, but I don't really have the time. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not open. That's a bummer. I guess it makes sense. They don't want people messing around in there, and why show it for free when you can have people take a tour? Look at the horns. The speaking, I guess, if you wanted to talk to somebody down in the engine room or something. That's what I'm assuming it is. This is over the front. For some reason they don't allow you to go in front of the ship. That's the parking lot. So if you're staying here, you stay at that, you park there. You know, the other thing when it comes to having some of these areas closed down is they have to, you know, someone like you watching or me, or obviously we're not going to do anything stupid. We're not going to break anything or do anything they don't want you to do. But obviously there are people that would, so they really have to be careful about who they just let walk around and what they're allowed to touch and come in contact with, because, you know, once you break something like this, that's it. You know, something that's 80 years old, 90 years old almost. So I get it. Oh, this is Legos. Wow. It's unbelievable. Wow, look at these old fans. I don't think I came down here last night for some reason. I was on the other side of those open doors, I think. The Royal Salon. The door is open, so I'm going in. Wow, look at this. Look at the woodwork here. Beautiful. Yeah, these. Well, I don't know if this is even open, period, but it's open now. So there's a restaurant right back there. Did you just hear it? It must be 12 o'clock. Thank goodness I was filming. So that was the horn. Here's some of these old elevators. Old Art Deco. Beautiful elevators. No longer in use. The Victoria Room. I'm gonna take you downstairs. I want to see what this is all about. What is this thing? I have no idea what that is. Look at this glass. Just kind of wraps around the elevator. Wow, look at this radio. This old Zenith radio. So here's the back of the ship. The very back. And now this is open. Isolation ward. Really? What the heck? Going into isolation. Fascinating. And you can come in here, at least into this room. Jeez. Tight fit. See, this is why they have to be careful as to who they let in here. Somebody sat on this and cracked this wood. I mean, I don't know how old this wood is, but it could be 80 something years old. And they put some screws in here to try to save it. So that's why. Look at the surgical room here. Yeesh. All ships required clearance from medical authorities of the country they were entering before any passenger was allowed to disembark. Originally, this required that a ship would be stopped at quarantine while authorities boarded the ship to verify that all passengers and crew members were free from disease. Later, a less time-consuming practice known as radio pratique was adopted, which allowed clearance by radio based upon the word of the ship's medical officer the ship was clean. This is a receipt for a casket, it looks like. No, maybe not. Oh, it's hard to read. Here you go. Here's a list of all the passengers who died on board. So this has something to do with why people believe this ship is haunted. Here's one right here. 1966, John Owen. Medical inspector. He was British. Wow, they even have his 8 Frogmore Road, Liverpool. And died of heart failure. So I'm assuming this was the medical room, surgical room. Wow, here's a list of all the stowaways. And there are a lot. So this was the main lounge for second class, and this in some ways was more desirable than first class because it wasn't as hooty tooty. It wasn't as you could unbutton your top button down here and just relax a little bit more. You weren't just constantly being watched and having to be on your A game, and it offered the same type of entertainment and fun. So it's said that a lot of first class passengers chose to be down here in second class. I think that would be more my style. I probably wouldn't go with the first class. I'd be down here for sure. So this is like third class. That's what this is. Or maybe second class? Look how skinny the doors were. Alright, I want to see what's downstairs. Oh man, it smells coming down here. I don't know if there's anything down here as far as people staying here. Because it smells. This was the B deck. Whoa, look at this floor. That's awesome. Yeah, I don't know if there's anybody down here because the soda machines are completely empty. This is just a bunch of storage. Yeah, so I don't know if anybody's staying down here. They're still kind of working on things. It's a work in progress. I'd say this is likely how the ship looked in the 1940s and 50s, possibly even the 30s. Look at this wood. Kind of looks yellow under this light, but it's not. It just looks like nice wood. I wonder what this was. A seat? Just like a corner seat. These rooms go way back. Mine was definitely not this far back, I don't think. Yeah, I was in here last night. I think it all looks the same. This is the pool. Yeah, so this is, you gotta take a tour for the pool. There's two pools, I guess. Look at that. How cool does that look? That Art Deco style. This is interesting. This is one of the original daycare areas here, which from what I understand has the original artwork and even some of the furniture. Kind of creepy artwork. And look at this one. I have not found it. I don't know if it still exists or maybe it's off limits, but this one had a slide. I think there was 3 of them in total on the ship, probably for the different classes. This is probably first class. This go? Whoa. I don't know what this was. It's locked away though. Out into the sun deck, or onto the sun deck. Oh, this is open today. Why is this open? Is this the museum? The museum part is open. No gal, no shattering sea, no towering iceberg, nothing is more feared than fire at sea. No effort was spared to make the Queen Mary safe from fire through more than 1,000 Atlantic crossings. Wow. Look at this panel, the alarm indicator panel. On this panel of the ship's decks are 300 lights, including the 300 alarm points that function independently from the Lux-Rich system. Yellow, activated by over 5,000 heat-sensitive sprinkler heads in passenger and crew areas. Red, activated by manual push alarms installed in public corridors near fire hydrant stations. White, activated by thermostatic alarms in cargo spaces. And green, activated by thermostatic alarms in public spaces. Huh. Has some interesting stuff here. I don't know if that's a passport, but some sort of a documentation. Date of birth 1896, Nellie Thornton. Travel documents from immigrants who arrived at Ellis Island on the Queen Mary. I didn't even think about that. I thought it was really just for pleasure, but it was for immigrants too. People traveling to the U.S. So a lot of this museum down here is really just, plaques and things like that to read. So I don't want to bore you. I'd rather just keep walking around and show you what I can see here. And this, I think I came through here last night. Yes, but unfortunately the front of the ship is still blocked off. They just don't want you going all the way to the front. But I will show you this. This is one of the guns that was on the ship during World War II. Twin 40mm anti-aircraft heavy machine gun. So yeah, they used it in 1939. The British began to consider how best to use the Queen Mary for the war effort after some debate, which included the strong possibility of conversion to an aircraft carrier. Wow, it was decided that the ship, because of her size and speed, was best suited as a troop carrier. So it doesn't open until 4 o'clock, and I won't be here, but look at this awesome Art Deco lounge. I would love to have a drink in there, but to much dismay, it is closed. Look at this. Bellboys stayed busy aboard the Queen Mary, assisting 1,957 passengers. In a single trip, the Queen Mary staff prepared 40,000 meals. The ship carried 100,000 pieces of china and glass. I wonder where all that is now. This is a huge model of the Titanic. But I wanted to show you, it's cut down the middle so you can see exactly what all the decks look like. And what was I looking at? I wanted to show you. First class. Hang on, where is it? Parlor suite with private promenade. This suite consisted of a sitting room, 2 bedrooms, and a bath, and a 55-foot long private promenade. The cost was $4,356 for 6 days. So what would that be in today's money? We're talking about 1912. Crazy. Captain Treasure Jones was one of the 1,174 officers and crew aboard the Queen Mary. Traveling at a cruising speed of 28.5 knots and reaching top speed of 31.5 knots. She navigated ocean waters as the fastest liner until 1952. Queen Mary carried two 16-ton anchors, still located on the bow of the ship. This third anchor was kept in Southampton, England, for quick replacement in case of accidental loss. Each anchor was attached to 990 feet of chain, such as the section above you. Each link weighs 224 pounds and was tested to a load of 290 tons. Wow. All right, so this was an extra one. The ones on the ship are still there. So this was the engine room. They have it set up so you can kind of see everything with lights and everything. From what I understand, these engines do not run, but they still look amazing, that's for sure. Each of the four main engines was fitted with one second intermediate pressure ahead turbine of the single flow reaction type. Steam was supplied to the turbine through a 2-foot 7-inch diameter receiver pipe connected to the exhaust steam flange on the first intermediate pressure ahead turbine. Got all that? Each of the four main reduction gear cases were especially heavily constructed and strongly reinforced with ribs to withstand the tremendous loads exerted by the gearing and the forces of torque produced by the turbines. Wow, this just goes on forever back here. From what I understand, the ship could hold 1.5 million gallons of fuel, because I think it was a gallon of fuel for every 13 feet. Yes, you heard that right. 13 feet, it would use a gallon of fuel. So it certainly was the fastest ship around, but also wasn't very fuel efficient, which is one of the reasons why it was retired in '67. It just couldn't keep up with the prices. So technically I am outside of the ship right now, looking down at one of the propellers in the water. 200,000 gallons of water is in this propeller box that they built, still attached to its large drive shaft. The manganese bronze propeller, one of four, weighs 35 tons and measures 18 feet from tip to tip. And it's my understanding that the ship does still float, and it rises and lowers with the tide up to a few feet. You're now standing outside the Queen Mary's hull in a special tank constructed around the ship's remaining propeller. Looking at the hull, you can see the rivets were used to construct the Queen Mary. Over 10 million rivets were used, made of mild ingot steel and varying in length from 2 to 4.5 inches. Looks like generators. Yep, 250 horsepower Elf Tri motor. I don't know what that is. Steering rams. Well, we're really at the very end, it looks like here. All right, this has been the daytime tour, at least, of the Queen Mary. If you're interested in this is probably going to be a very long video, but if you really like this and you have not already, watch the night tour and then also the detailed room tour, which will definitely be on my second channel. I don't know about these, but the room tour, I just wanted to show the little nitty-gritty of the room, little bits and interesting pieces of furniture and things like that. So definitely check them both out. I am leaving this area. I would absolutely come back, and you should come here if you haven't. Make a trip of it. It's definitely well worth it. So I'll see you in the next video. So real quick, I'm actually leaving. This is how you get up inside the boat, but I wanted to show you these slider ramps here. This is what accepts the difference in height between low tide and high tide. So looks like we're at least high tide or coming up to high tide, because look how much this has slid out. So from what the guy said today, he said it was anywhere up to 3 feet. Interesting.